If projects are about giving Claude the right knowledge, skills are about teaching Claude a process. A skill is a set of reusable instructions for a specific task. You create it once and Claude will follow it every time that task comes up, without you having to re-explain the steps. What's worth knowing early on is that a skill is really just a text file with detailed instructions. There's nothing proprietary about the format. Skills follow an open standard, so you can build one in Claude, export it, and use it in other tools that support the same format, so you're not locked in. So, when would you actually use a skill instead of a project? A project might tell Claude, here's everything you need to know about my client, so that every chat in that project has the right knowledge going into it. A skill will tell Claude how to actually do a full process end to end. For example, your skill might tell Claude, here's exactly how I want my meeting summaries written every time. Skills can go much deeper than a simple set of instructions as well. A skill can tell Claude which tools to use, what documentation to reference, what steps to follow in what order, and what to watch out for along the way. If you've ever started a new chat and pasted in the same instructions to do the same task, that's a sign you need a skill. By now, you might already be using skills without realizing it. When Claude creates an Excel spreadsheet with working formulas, or generates a PowerPoint presentation, or produces a formatted Word document, these are all powered by built-in skills running behind the scenes. Anthropic maintains these, and Claude will use them automatically when they're relevant. But the real power comes from creating your own. And the most important thing I can tell you about creating skills is, don't try to write one from scratch. A lot of people, when they realize they have a repeatable workflow, will jump straight to trying to write a skill for it from scratch. They'll sit down and try to think of the whole process and document it themselves, assuming they can capture everything up front. The problem with that is the same reason you wouldn't hire a new employee, hand them a manual on their first day, and say, right, off you go to do this forever. You can't possibly write down everything about every task they're going to do with enough detail for them to just go and do it. They haven't seen what good looks like, they haven't made mistakes and been corrected, and they have no context for what a successful outcome actually is. It's exactly the same for skills. If you try to write one from scratch, Claude is guessing what you want rather than learning from what you actually did. So, how do you actually write a great skill? There are two approaches that work well, and they share the same principle: iterate through real use. Let me show you the first approach. Something I do all the time is to take messy meeting notes and turn them into a clean summary. So I'll start doing that in a normal chat. Claude gives me a great first draft. It's decent, but way too detailed. So I'll give it some feedback. This is too long, keep it to 1 page max, and lead with decisions, not the discussion. It's better, but the action items aren't specific enough. So I'll say that and iterate through again. Now I've got something I'm actually happy with. Through that back and forth, Claude knows exactly what I want: the structure, the length, what to prioritize, and how to handle missing information. So now I'll get Claude to turn this into a skill. And to do this, I can just ask it. I'll say, based on everything we just did, create a skill that captures this workflow. It should take the raw meeting notes and produce a clean summary following the same structure and standards we landed on. Claude might ask me a few clarifying questions, and then we'll generate the skill. Once it's ready, I'll save it and it can appear here in my skills list. So next time I've got meeting notes, I don't need to re-explain any of that. I can just tell Claude to sort my meeting notes and it can find the skill and use it by itself from any chat. So let's try that. I'll start a fresh chat with some different meeting notes and ask Claude to summarize them. It's picked up the skill automatically and the output is pretty close. The structure's right, but I'm noticing it's not grouping action items by team. So I'll tell Claude, this is good, but can you group the action items by team instead of listing them all together? And that's much better. And now I want this to be how it works every time, not just in this chat. So I'll tell it, update the meeting summary skill to group action items by team. That should be the default going forward. And Claude will update the skill on its own. I then need to click Add Skill and replace the previous version. Once I confirm, the updated skill is active. And that's the best-in-class loop. Use the skill, notice what's missing, correct it, and update it, so that over time, the skill can get closer and closer to exactly how you want it to work. Overall, that's my recommended approach. Do the work first, and then turn it into a skill. But there's a quicker option if you already know your workflow well. You can use Claude's Skill Creator, which will interview you about the task and generate a first version from your answers. You'll find this under Customize, Skills, and then when you press on the plus button, you'll see Create with Claude. Or you can open a fresh chat and ask Claude to help you create a skill, and it will do the same thing. It's faster, but remember, that first version won't be perfect. So use it, refine it, and keep improving. Now I'll show you where all of your skills actually live. If I click into Customize on the sidebar, this is where you'll find your skills and connectors. When I click into Skills, you can see everything I currently have installed. I can toggle any of them on or off, delete them, click into one and edit it manually, or update it through a chat with Claude. If you click on the plus button, you can see the option to either browse skills or create your own skill. When you go into Browse Skills, if you're on a team or enterprise plan, you'll see options for skills in your organization, skills shared with you in your organization, and skills made by Anthropic and partners. In reality, the majority of your skills are probably custom to you or your team, since every task varies slightly. Then, if you hover over Create Skill, you can see a few options. Create with Claude is the skill creator we just talked about. Write skill instructions lets you handwrite a skill manually. You can do this, but I'd highly advise against it, since skills have a certain pattern they should follow that Claude can easily help you with. And upload a skill is to upload an existing skill. Perhaps someone's shared a skill file with you, or you found one online. Just be extremely careful with external skills. They might not be secure and cause Claude to act maliciously. If you're on a team or enterprise plan, you can share skills with colleagues or publish them to your whole organization, so everyone follows the same process without having to build it themselves. All right, before you move on, think about one task where you're always giving Claude the same instructions. Maybe it's formatting a report, drafting a certain type of email, or reviewing a document in a specific way. Go through that task with Claude, get the output right, and then turn the conversation into a skill. Or go into an existing conversation where you've done work with Claude and tell it to turn that workflow into a skill. And it's good to know that skills get significantly more powerful in Cowork, where they combine plugins, scheduled tasks, and local file access. And we'll cover all of that in a follow-up course.